One, I'd like to speak to y'all about right now about why everyone should be planting hybrid hazelnuts on their property. So right here, like I said earlier, on my tour is a Theta and Eta hazelnut. This whole row here is Theta and Eta. The name tag came off this one. The other two have name tags on them still. So I suspect this one here is most likely an Eta. But there's like three basic reasons, and I want to go into some more things that you need to know about raising these things. Number one, hazelnuts do not require you to plow the ground every year. These hazelnuts we have here planted don't have to plow, don't have to sow the seed every year. So if there's a gas disruption, if there's a power outage and you can't get gas to pump, these things will still produce year after year after year. They don't require a big combine to pick them up. Some areas do use vacuum type devices to pick up the nuts, but they don't require heavy machinery to do it. Also, hazelnuts are highly productive. They're something that will easily feed you off a small patch. I mean, if you had an acre or two, you could totally raise a large family, enough calorie intake. They have high quality protein, high quality oil. There's a heavy market demand for them because most of the market current worldwide hazelnut production goes into making candy. Now, on top of all this, they are easy to store. Literally, you can pick these nuts up, stick them in any pillowcase, any gunny sack. They'll store in your house. Tie them, hang them from the ceiling if you want. They'll store fine. They'll have plenty of calorie content, oils, protein for your diet. Very nutritious. Whereas the other high-producing nut there is a chestnut, but they have a high chance of losing because they're high moisture. They'll mold very quickly if you don't dry them out or freeze them. And if you have no power, freezing may not be an option for you. Now, the second thing you have to deal with here is nutrition. If you're from a Northwestern European ethnic background, if you have blue eyes, your ancestors literally lived on these nuts probably for at least half their daily calorie intake. Archaeological records looking into the Western hunter-gatherers is what they call the ancient Northwest European peoples. They and archaeologists refer to them by that term. I personally think there's a good chance they could actually narrow things down with genetics and other things to what ethnic group they are most closely related to. But that set aside, if you're from that background, your ancestors lived on these nuts. These nuts are what fed them. Now, humans, like animals, even though I don't believe we're animals, but they can be selectively bred by environmental pressures. So back then, without relief aid groups and stuff, you either lived or you died. You survived and did well on the food that you had available, or you didn't survive and you didn't have any kids. So those that did well with that type of nutritional profile are the ones that actually passed on the genetics. So you take yourself out of that nutritional profile, you're going to develop deficiencies. It's well known historically, and modern medical science has all shown that men and women have different nutritional requirements. Different ethnic groups have different nutritional requirements. You can become deficient based on your ethnic group on one vitamin or mineral sooner than another ethnic group will. So nutritionally, this is a very healthy thing for people of European descent to be eating. Now, the third thing you're dealing with on this type of stuff is disaster, bad weather resilience. These trees are extremely flexible. Look at this. Does not hurt them at all. Over here, I can bend this one down really easy. Doesn't damage or hurt it at all. Well, it's actually a common way to harvest these things is to actually bend them over to pick the nuts. That means they'll handle up to storms and winds very well. Now, the one area they are susceptible to winds is wintertime because the catkins can get wind damaged if there are heavy winds during the wintertime. But most times, severe weather hits most places of the world. It's not in the wintertime, most parts of America. It's going to be tornadoes and other things in the summertime. High winds, summertime. So they're very resilient to being broken. They're very flexible. So that's another thing going for hazelnuts. For food security, you can't beat these things. They're excellent, beautiful tree. Now, a couple notes on raising them. Number one, you have to have a pollinator for them. You can't plant all the same variety. Every variety has a different, they call alleles, different like genetics, and you have to have one that does not match it. If they match it, they're sterile to their own type of pollen. So you got to find varieties that have different ones. Some people just plant the hazelnut nuts, and so they'll have a variety. Other ones actually get varieties that are known to have certain alleles. Like, for example, the Beast and Grand Traverse will pollinate each other. Theta and Eta and other ones should pollinate each other. Now, so you got to have a mixture. The seed company, the nursery catalogs you buy from will usually state what ones they will, what alleles they have, or what DNA they have, so which ones you know can pair well. Number two thing, raising them on these raised earth berms like I'm doing. Because you have to realize there's two types of hazelnuts in physical stature. One is a shorter one that's a bush type. Another one's a taller one that's a tree type. And over here, I'm partly concerned with deer eating things, browsing things down. So, by me having them up on this earth berm, that means a deer staying down here at the base of this berm gets the tree that many more feet higher out of its reach. So it gives some elevation to the tree, lifts the tree, the top of the tree out of the deer's reach. Plus, you raise the tree types, they'll get 10, 15 foot tall, again, out of the deer's reach. Whereas some of your short bush types might only get 8 foot tall. So a deer could easily stand on its hind legs and reach and mow the whole tree down. So by having them on these raised berms, it elevates them up so that a deer, if its hind feet are down here on the base, on the ground level, not up on the berm, it's going to raise that tree up out of the deer's height. So it can't mow the top, can't mow the whole thing down to the ground. It also helps with drainage. So those are some excellent things. Another thing to also consider when raising things is that some hazelnuts are, they are the two types. Some stay, some are self-shedding. The husk opens up and drops the nuts. Some stay in the husk. Once they stay in the husk, you're going to have to go over there and you're going to have to literally go up to the tree and bend down the top of the tree down like this to pick the nuts off it. And then you have to get a machine to shell the nuts. The positive is you have less loss from bug damage. The self-shedding ones that just drop themselves, commonly found in the tree types, that's one they take after the European ancestry there. They have to pick them off the ground. They're a little hot, they lose more to bugs, but you don't have to have machinery to shell them. So it's up to you. Do you want to have a little less bug damage, or do you want to spend the money on equipment, or do you have a little more bug damage but save the money on equipment? If you're just raising them for your own home use, I would say get the self-shedding ones. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier to handle. So let me see if I can see any comments. Last time I did it, I wasn't able to read comments at all. See, someone says hello. It's kind of sunny right now, so it's hard to see my screen. So Brian, I think, says hello. Thank you for that. And that's all I see comments from. So thank you to those who said hello to me. Thank you for watching. I hope this has been beneficial to you all and help you have a safer, healthier life. More information, like and subscribe, or comment on my videos, and I'll try to make more videos like this. Have a nice day.